Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The honorable judges, dear my friend who participates in the speech contest, my loving brother and sister. I am Zahra Ghinaya from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, and now I'm going to deliver my speech about pandemic to endemic. So what's next? Ladies and gentlemen, I congratulate to all of you for having managed to get through the process over the last 2 years full of unusual struggles. You are one of the victorious fighters on the battlefield, and without you knowing it, you are the winner in the fight against Covid-19. But that doesn't mean that Covid is completely defeated. Covid is still living with us, living together with us, but we didn't have to be worried again because we have vaccine that can protect us. The enormity of the pandemic that occurred had an impact on many aspects of life. For example, in social, education, environmental, our mental health. But in this speech, I want to tell you how the pandemic hit me in terms of my economy, my finances, my education, and how I deal with it. So I lost my dad in 2020 and my mom has no job. So my family started to sell food. But that didn't change the downturn in my economy. Because getting customer is very difficult if you don't understand how to do a good marketing. But the good point here is that my family and I learned how to deal with the economy changes toward more digital stuff, and we did it. We got a lot of customers from social media. Well, in education, do you know, my generation had a good label that named Corona graduates because we passed our high school without taking national examination, which should be the last national examination in Indonesia. I remember very well that the national examination was cancelled one day before the due date. Instead, we worked on assignment to make up for our test scores. Well, education during Corona cannot be categorized to be good or bad. When the pandemic suddenly gripped us, which peaked in March 2020, schools in Indonesia were closed for the first 2 weeks, from 2 weeks to 1 month to 2 months to 3 months, and so on. But fortunately, the government in Indonesia still cares about the education of its people. So that's why education in Indonesia applies the SFH, or School from Home. School from homes allows students and also the teachers to carry out their learning and study activity from their respective home. From these two, some parents who were previously not understand about the digital, about the technology, slowly began to understand how the digital machine works. But the bad thing is we are in shock. Since this is a new thing for us, we have a lot to adjust. Learning from home is not fully monitored by the teachers, and students tend not to pay attention to learning. So based on a different home condition of each student, focusing is hard thing to do. Well, that's our old story. The pandemic will end, and we will face the endemic. That's why I said that Corona has not really lost yet. The reality now is we live side by side with Corona, but that's totally okay, just like the flu happened to us. Now, let us focus on what we can do right now for our future. As a student majoring in education, I am aware that the COVID pandemic that happened yesterday could be used as a warning for our generation. A warning to be more competitive in this era. Because shouldn't we be able to move forward even if it's only just one step? The lack of knowledge about the digital things is one of the ironic things that happen in this 4.0 era. This can be used as a reason to be able to further advance education in Indonesia. From now on, we can combine the two methods of learning, that is online and offline. For example, the teacher can record an explanation of the material and upload it on YouTube, so the student can watch it before the lesson starts. So when the lesson has started, the student can immediately ask what they are still confused about. From this also, the another advantage of this method is the student can rewatch the video. My lecturer did this and it really had an impact in my understanding. This proves that there is a teacher and a lecturer that has successfully adapted to this current era. Maybe if the pandemic didn't come, the learning system in Indonesia having no movement toward progress. In the economic aspect, what I can learn is how to be a good seller. And another important point is that I realized that we must have skill in order to survive in any condition of our life. Before the corona pandemic came, I didn't have any skills that I mastered at all. But after the corona came, I learned how to sell. I learned how to be an entrepreneur. I learned how to make an attractive products. I learned how to retain the customers. I learned that life is hard, but that's totally exciting. I learned that I am stronger than I was before, and I know that I can. So in my opinion, what we can do after the pandemic gone is to continue to always see the good things, the positive side that is happening to us. To always learning as long as we live, to always see the opportunity even if it's just a small point, to always care and strive for our mental health, for our environmental, and for ourselves. To realize that we have a great potential to grow. We can get through this pandemic, so I am sure that we can deal with this pandemic too. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all my speech today. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for the fighters who fight against COVID-19, all the volunteers, all the doctors, all the teachers, and all of you. For the young generation in Indonesia, I always hope you can always fight for yourself because the bright future is still waiting for you. You don't have to be in rush because everything takes time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.